My name is Chris Rose. I'm the director of the City of Miami's Office of Management and Budget, and I'm here to welcome you to the August 26th virtual community budget meeting. We're going to be doing one of these tonight, and we're going to do another one just like it tomorrow night. We have a number of directors and assistant directors from other departments that are here tonight, and they're going to help me answer any questions we may have and respond to the public input that comes in. So thank you all for coming. The way we're going to run tonight's meeting is we're going to go till about 8 o'clock, the next hour and a half or so, discussing the city's proposed budget for the new fiscal year, which is going to start October 1st, 2020, and it will run through September 30th of 2021. The format that we're going to use tonight is I'm going to make a short slide deck presentation on the proposed budget, and then we're going to open it up to questions from attendees. We'll like I said, we'll have another one of these meetings tomorrow night with the same format, and then in September, the next chance for participation is 2 budget meetings where the budget will be presented and voted on. Those will be on September 10th and September 24th at 5:05 p.m. both nights. So, if I may, I'm going to start with the situation that we have right now with the City of Miami's budget that is upcoming. We, at the City of Miami, inside the City of Miami's government, are experiencing financial difficulties similar to many businesses that are out there. Effectively, we're not bringing in as much money as we had anticipated before the COVID-19 pandemic. We have revenue shortfalls. There is really not a great deal to guess about this budget. It is very detailed, and it goes department by department, line item by line item. But it on its face, the real issue with this budget are the revenue issues that we're experiencing. And we have proposed a budget that, of course, is balanced, and it's balanced with no tax rate increases or fee raises on our residents or businesses. It has no large reductions of city services. There are some strategic and targeted service reductions. No reduction in the city's reserves for the new year, although in the current year, we are dipping into the city's reserves to make it through what we are experiencing right now. No layoffs of city employees, no big layoffs. We do have a few targeted reductions out there. And many vacant positions that are being cut from the budget, and no pay cuts to the employees of the city. The way that this is being done is we are asking our city employees to not take raises next fiscal year. There are some raises built into next year's budget that would have been built into next year's budget, but are not in there, and that is what we're talking to our employees and our labor unions about right now to make sure that the budget balances once October 1st gets here. So that is the overall view of what's happening in this budget. And I'm going to start the slide deck now. Let me see if I can get it to share. All right. So here is, and if you've been to any of the community budget meetings that we've done in the past, the format is not too far different. It's actually going to be a little shorter than in previous years. That's to allow for some time for questions. So first of all, our elected and our appointed city officials welcome you to this meeting as well. Our mayor, our 5 commissioners, our manager, city attorney, clerk, and independent auditor general. Those are the elected on the left side of the screen and appointed on the right side of the screen, officials of the city of Miami. The city actually adopts two budgets every year. We adopt an operating budget and a capital budget. The operating budget is this orange slice of the pie. It is just what it sounds like. It is the operations, the day-to-day operations of the city of Miami. For next year's budget, it is $1.158 billion. The city's adopted proposed capital budget is new money, $28.769 million, and over a 6-year span, $7.62 million going forward. The capital budget is more like projects, things that have a beginning and an end, such as road reconstruction, the building of a park, perhaps a building, drainage, even some IT projects or purchase of vehicles. All are things that have a beginning, have an end. They're not day-to-day operations. That is what is in our capital budget. So in our operating budget, which I'll tackle first here, we have 4 funds. The largest of them is this blue slice right here, the general fund, $813 million. It is the fund that runs most operations of the city. The vast majority, almost, in fact, all of our departments have some or all of their funding funded in the general fund. After that is special revenue funds. Those are funds that have a dedicated and specific use for the funds that come in. Many grants are in this fund, and other types of funding that cannot be spent on just anything, has to be spent on something specific. Our internal service fund, this yellow slice right here, is the way that we spread costs that are common to all departments, like insurance or say computer systems that are used by all departments. We use that to spread the cost across all of our departments and properly show the costing of those things. And then finally, that orange slice is the debt service funds of the city, $68 million. So that's our operating budget. Now I'm going to focus in just on this blue slice right here, the general fund. So where does the money come from in the general fund? So these are the revenues of the general fund. The blue slice of the general fund is property taxes. This year, the proposed budget includes about 52% of the total revenues are going to be coming from property taxes. After that are our franchise fees, other taxes. Franchise fees are basically the fees that are paid to use the land inside of our right-of-ways. A lot of utility companies and such pay for that privilege. It's a good way to run pipes and conduit and such throughout the city, and they deliver their services that way, and the city gets some revenue from it. The yellow slice here is charges for service. This is anything that a patron would choose to use, such as marina revenues, renting a pavilion at a park, parking fees, perhaps, things that are a charge for a service. Intergovernmental revenues, the green slice here, primarily comes from the state of Florida. There are revenues that the state of Florida shares with us, in particular, sales tax. A piece of what is paid in sales tax comes back to the city of Miami and other municipalities in the county as well. The blue slice here are licenses and permits, just what it sounds like, things like the building department, the planning department, things like that. And then there are other ones, fines and forfeitures, other revenues, interest, so on and so forth. So those are where the monies come from into the city's general fund. Next up is one way of looking at it, where the money goes by category. So this brown slice here is salaries and wages. So 47% or so of the city's operating general fund budget is salaries and wages. The green slice here are employee benefits, another 27.6. So these two together are just shy of 3/4, just shy of 75% of the operating general fund budget. All of the operating expenses, whether they be paper or or electricity or a desk or anything required to get the job done that's not personnel costs, those are right here in the orange slice, other operating expenses. The blue slice here, sort of a, yeah, blue, we've got purple over here. The blue are transfers out, where we're transferring money, whether it be to capital, to special revenue, to debt service, those kinds of things. The yellow slice are non-operating expenses, expenses that don't fit exactly into a department, not into an operating line item. They are special. Those include some of our reserves out there in there. And then a very small slice here is our capital outlay. Very small slice of the general fund is going toward capital projects. So this is a visual representation of each of our departments in the city of Miami and their relative budgets. So the city's largest budget is the police department's budget right here. The next largest department is our fire rescue department, and those two together are a little more than half of the city's general fund operating budget. Non-departmental, again, are those charges that don't exactly fit into a department. Some examples of those are some of the parades that the city sponsors. Sometimes employee payouts are in here. Some legal settlements, things like that are all in the non-departmental section. Parks is our third largest department, followed by solid waste, resilience and public works, the General Services Administration, and you can see them all heading on over into departments with budgets for less than $5 million, which includes, of course, the Office of Management and Budget, my budget right over here, and all the other departments that fit into this slice down at about, say, 4 o'clock or so, 5 o'clock on the pie. So that is our operating budget. The table of organization of the city of Miami, you can see the city commission, the executive mayor, Mayor Suarez, the chief administrative officer, which is our city manager, Arthur Noriega, 3 assistant city managers, and then all the departments are in these 4 columns right here, reporting through an assistant city manager or reporting directly to the city manager. There are also 3 departments over here in the bottom left-hand corner that report directly to the city commission. Those are the city attorney, the city clerk, and the independent auditor general. So that is how the city is structured. You can see each of the department directors' names and the name of the department right there. Next up, I'm going to show, still in the operating budget, where the money goes by function. So this orange slice here, as I said before, 53.6, almost 54% of the city's operating general fund budget is public safety, made up of the police department and the fire department. All of our other departments fit into the other 46.4% of the city's budget. Public Works is our largest group. That is not just the Department of Public Works. It includes solid waste and a few others. General government is where many of the internal service departments, like budget, like human resources, like neighborhood enhancement teams, so on and so forth, are all in here. The green, again, is that non-departmental accounts that we talked about earlier. Parks and Recreation has its own slice right here. Transfers out, planning and development, real estate and asset management, so on, are all these smaller slices right over in the top left-hand corner of that same pie. The capital budget, as we said earlier, are things that are projects, are largely construction, but not exclusively construction, things that the city needs to build or projects the city needs to complete. So our largest department that is getting the largest share of the capital budget this next year of new money is the Parks Department with $9.491 million, followed by Resilience and Public Works, and then Real Estate and Asset Management, buildings, so on and so forth, on down the line. The Parks Department and the Resilience and Public Works Department are almost always our top two departments, and they switch back and forth every year. Sometimes Parks is the number one, sometimes Resilience and Public Works is the number one. This year, Parks has the most new money coming to it. Now that was just the 1 year funding going into the capital budget by department. This is the 6-year capital plan, which is very similar, but not exactly the same, but all of the years of the capital budget represented here. And you'll see for that time period, Resilience and Public Works has our largest slice, followed by Parks and Rec, and then Real Estate and Asset Management, followed actually by Management and Budget, which are funds that are set aside for future allocation into projects. Fire rescue, GSA, police, so on and so forth. So that is our representation of the capital budget that has been proposed. A quick word on property taxes. Again, remember, property taxes are a little more than half of the revenue of the city's general fund budget. And in this proposed budget for next year, the property tax rate stays the same. And if the value of your house stays the same, then the amount of taxes you're paying to the city will stay the same. So an average homesteaded house is $262,000, just a little more than dollars, and that house would be paying $2,093 to the city of Miami. Now, that's not the only property taxes that that house would pay, because that house would also pay for things like the county's property tax, the school board's property tax, and some other property taxes that are out there. So it's not just the city of Miami, but the city of Miami does have a little more than a third of the share of the property taxes that are levied on the average household out there. Just a few more slides here. The financial history of the city. You can see this little dip right here, about 5 bars in, is what we all have come to know as the Great Recession. This is when the real estate bubble burst and the city's property taxes dropped off greatly. The bars represent the fund balance of the city, essentially how much money the city has in the bank on the very last day of the fiscal year. It's not exactly that. It's a little more nuanced than that, but you can see that over time, after the Great Recession, the city has built back its reserves so that it has a little something in the tank for new issues coming at us. And that has proven very useful in the current year, in that we did not anticipate revenue reductions in the current year when we put the budget together last September. So when it came along, we actually fell on that cushion to help us make it through the year and continue providing services. Next year's budget is built without that, where we are not going to be reaching deeper into the city's reserves, but we are maintaining the reserves that we've got. I will point out that there are two types of reserves. The first one is designated reserves. These are reserves that have a specific use for them, and those reserves are above the self-imposed green line here, which is our financial integrity principle line, which is roughly 10% of the last 3 years average of the city. So we've got that average right there, and we are above that in the designated section of our reserves. What I want to point out is in the unassigned, the undesignated section of our reserves, we are not quite so healthy. So we have the same line that we are shooting for, the average of the last 3 years' revenues, and we've come right on it for the last few years. But in the current year, we are going to come down below that into the new year. So it is a challenge for us. We are over the next few years, perhaps not the very next year, but we're going to try and build those reserves back up so that we have that cushion that we need going forward. So that actually concludes all the things that I need to tell you, and I'm going to ask if there are questions. Now, I'd like to handle this in a nice orderly fashion if we could. Those of you that are attendees that would like to ask a question, if you would just tap on the raise your hand button. And we've got some folks that are going to start letting folks in one at a time to ask the questions. You're not going to be on video. You're going to be on audio for these questions. And I would ask that that we try to limit it to 2 questions per person, including follow-up questions, just to give everyone a chance to ask. If no one wants to ask, then we can go back and pick up those folks. And I'm also going to ask those directors and assistant directors that are in attendance that if there is a question that is operational in nature, that you help me out with those answers, and then I will do my best to answer those budget questions that are out there. So let me ask, do we have folks with their hands up? And let's see who wants to go first.
Pat Gajardo had his hand up and he's allowed to talk.
Very good. Pat, welcome.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Greetings from Alapata.
Thank you, sir. I wish I could be there in person, but I think a virtual meeting is more in order at this time. So
I agree. My question is in regards to sea level rise and resiliency. What are we doing on those points with the budget? And my second question is in regards to the net offices. And I know there are some cutbacks. Why are the cutbacks being made in predominantly Black neighborhoods? And how is it going to balance out with the administrators? Like, are you guys moving administrators? Are administrators from those offices being let go? How is that being decided?
Very good. Good. 2 good questions. So we have merged our resilience and sustainability functions into the Resilience and Public Works Department this year. I see Alan Dodd, our director and new Chief Resilience Officer, has popped up on the video. So thank you, Alan. And I'm going to let him talk about it for just a moment. So Alan, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so on the first part, dealing specifically with flooding and concerns about sea level rise, we are not taking the foot off the gas in any of these efforts, and anything you'll see over the next year we will be picking up primarily with the Miami Forever Bond and the Stormwater Master Plan. We've spent over 1.5 years now working on that master plan, and we anticipate by the end of this year, calendar year, December, we should have a draft plan that will be socializing, having public meetings, and the plan will be finalized and approved by the commission in early spring. That will become the pathway to spending a lot of those Miami Forever Bond funds that are dedicated towards resilience, to improving our infrastructure and addressing the worst flooding problems. We're also have all the other initiatives that we've been working on, we're continuing to work on. I don't see it as a slowdown so much as we needed to get that plan right first. And now that we have it completed, we're really going to be able to start executing a lot of the projects that we know that we need to complete.
Thank you. You're on mute, Chris.
Thank you, Pat. I sure am. My apologies. Hopefully that'll be the last time I do that tonight. So we've also got Von Carol Kitchens. She is the director of the neighborhood enhancement teams. I'm going to invite her up in a second. I should point out that all of the reductions and savings that we have put in place were thought out ahead of time and are not things that we would like to do. They are things that we kind of need to do to balance this budget. If the revenues were coming in the way that we had expected them to, none of these would be necessary. But ultimately, we just like any household or any business, we do need to get that budget balanced. So it was with a great deal of discussion that we have come to this place. We definitely felt that it was not appropriate to balance the budget on the backs of our taxpayers. So we have not raised the property tax rate in this new year. So, Von Carroll, are you with us and ready to talk? There she is. All right, and I think you may be on mute. There we go. Okay. Hey, Von.
Good evening to each of you. When it comes to the net offices, we do have offices that will physically be closing, but you will still have a representation for each net area. The offices will be combined with each other. So you will still have your administrator present, you will still have office staff, and you will still have your waste collectors present to make sure all of the neighborhoods are taken care of.
Ms. Kitchens, I appreciate that. Could you give me an example? Say Model City's net office. How are they gonna work? Like, what's the plan for them?
The plan for Model City at this time is to work out of the Upper East Side net office.
Okay.
Downtown will join with Overtown.
Okay, and so everybody in those offices won't be let go and stuff like that. No one's losing their job.
Well, I can't exactly say that because, as Mr. Rose said, there will be some cutbacks. But as far as each of the 12 net areas, they will still be taken care of.
Okay.
And no, I think I can say it a little more definitively. There are positions that are going away in this budget. There is undoubtedly that. We are trying to keep those to vacancies first, and then there are some fill positions. But by and large, the positions that are being removed from the budget are ones that are currently vacant. So I hope that helps answer.
It does. And lastly, my biggest concern is with Allapattah, obviously. Is that going to impact us directly in any way?
The Allapattah office is one of those that is slated to stay open.
Okay. And our administrators, our staff, are they remaining too, or are they?
As Mr. Rose just said, we will have cutbacks when it comes to staff. So that will be addressed later. But as I said earlier, all of the 12 net offices will be covered.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I was a little too nice there. I let Pat have 4 questions. So I'm going to set the bar differently. We're going to go with 4 questions for everybody if there is a concern. So let's move to that. So who is our next person that
Joyce Nelson.
All
Joyce
right.
Nelson's allowed to talk.
Thank you so much. I have a little history here. I became an activist in Coconut Grove in 1990, and we were very upset with the city and how we were being treated and services that we were getting. And we filed to secede from the city of Miami. Unfortunately, Hurricane Andrew didn't allow people to vote, so it didn't go through. But they obliged to give us the net offices to help residents that had lots of questions and had no answers. So I'm concerned about this. I have worked with the Coconut Grove Net, Madeline Pacheco, for years. She is wonderful. She responds immediately and she helps us. So I'm concerned that the city and the residents are not going to get the service they deserve because things are, as you know, very difficult right now. And I want to make sure that we are able to talk to somebody and get an answer that I always have from Madeline. I'm concerned about this greatly. We're going backwards, not forwards. So what can I do?
Sure. And it is always good to hear positive things about our employees. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Vaughn, can you tell us if the Coconut Grove office is one of the ones that is going to be closed or stay open? I cannot remember. I apologize.
The Coconut Grove office will remain open.
Okay. So again, I will say as budget director that Director Kitchens and I spoke greatly about this over many weeks. And again, these decisions are not made lightly. They're not made quickly. But ultimately, choices have to be made. And I will say as well, the budget has not been adopted yet. If it is something that you feel strongly about, we do have those budget meetings coming up on the 10th and the 24th. I will be there virtually. They will be held virtually for everyone. And I would invite you to attend as well. Does that answer the question?
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm very happy that the net office in the Grove will continue because they've been very helpful. But I worry about the other areas and people getting in contact with somebody to make things work. Madeline makes things work. and it's important because I mean I've been emailing code enforcement for the whole month of August and I get no response. No response whatsoever. So I don't know why this has changed, but we need to have a dialogue with our city officials.
Well, that is part of the reason that we've got tonight open as we do, and I will bring your concerns back to all those that I can, and I will make sure that code knows that you've been sending emails, and that they see them, and I will ask them to check on that and respond to you.
I really appreciate that, Mr. Rose, really, because it's upsetting. It's really upsetting that we're getting no response.
Yes, ma'am. No, I will relay that message on. I will do that. Are there further questions? Let me ask Manny. I think we've got a hand up or two. Are there?
Samuel Lattimore.
Oh, yes. Mr. Lattimore, good evening, sir. I don't mean to interrupt, but if you are talking, you might be on mute right now. Sam?
Yeah. Okay. Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to see you again. We missed those yellow stickums on the walls for all those years, and we really appreciate you coming out to us, sharing with us that what never has been done in the past, and that is including our city section of our city in terms of the budgetary talks. I have some questions, but more specifically, I'm looking at the net offices and the criteria for determining what net offices will remain open versus what net office will be closed. If I look at the areas of Little Haiti and model cities and dealing with the influx of a lot of new people who are creating additional problems, it suggests to me that those areas need to be shorn up rather than depleted or lowered. And Chris, what is the criteria that you all came to in terms of looking at Allapattah and Coconut Grove in terms of them staying open and not the model cities area? I understand you're combining them, but what was the logic of keeping some open and closing or combining the rest of it? Did it have to do anything with workload or what?
And I'm going to invite Vaughn back. She's going to be a celebrity here. But I will tell you, we looked at a lot of different things. We did look at walk-in traffic, for instance. We looked at workload that was there. I know it was a long and sometimes painful and contentious discussion. So, even though we are colleagues, it does take some iron to sharpen the iron to get to that decision. So, Vaughn, can you tell us any more than I've just said?
The offices that are going to remain open are Core Way, Blagamy, up the east side, Overtown, Attapata, La Havana, Net Administration, and Coconut Grove. So the ones that will be combining are Model City, Little Haiti, Wynwood, and Marlins Park.
Okay, thank you for that information. It seems to me, though, that as I listen to your talk in terms of who remain opens, it seems to be targeted specifically to the those populations that happen to be Black. I will go back and research that in terms of who makes up those cities, but certainly and particularly the model cities area has been stalwart in its responding to the needs of the model cities area. You may not have the walk-in traffic that you have, but you certainly have a lot of walk-out traffic where those employees stay busy combing the city and looking for issues that have brought about tremendous improvement of that. And I'll just look at the makeup of those cities because, Chris, I've been very concerned about equity in the provision of services. And I know that in those other areas that they have a different population, and I'm hoping that was not a criteria for making that decision. The Net office with its Net, particularly model cities, has been superb in terms of addressing what it has become and continues to be a major problem. So I hope that as you all sharpen the knives and sharpen the pitchforks and all those other things you all do, that you make your decision based upon fairness and equity. And you know that that's one of the things that we're talking about. There seems to be the perception that when I read the paper that the two that were closing, and it was a Miami Herald article, I immediately responded to that as here we go again, the issue of not being treated fairly. So I will look at that and hope you all will look at it too. I trust Vaughn and her decision making. She's worked really hard with this community and helping us maintain some degree of cleanliness. And so we'll be looking at it. We'll be following up with that. The other thing is code compliance. I have had a different experience with code compliance that I have had that the earlier person said. Code compliance, working with the Net Model Cities Net office, has been instrumental in a lot of issues that have dragged on for years. So I'm in the position of saying that they respond to our emails, they respond to our calls, they respond to the weekend issue, and they work very closely with the Model Cities unit. I know we're not dealing with employees, but I just like to shout out for Mr. Michael Rivers, who has helped me work closely with code in terms of getting some of those things that were age old. As you know, one of our reports said that model cities in that area had over 733 unsafe structures, which was more than all the other areas is combined. Now, if you have that kind of decay and dilapidation, you would think that you would put your resources in that rather than the other ones. So I'll be attending the unit tomorrow too. I'd like to attend your units, Chris. I'm addicted to them. And I'll be raising that issue again when I look at the population breakdown in terms of why this decision was made. And is it fair? Is it equitable? And what are the parameters of how the decision came about?
Okay. Well, thank you for the kind words and the follow up. We will bring that back to everybody at City Hall, and I'm sure Von Carroll and I will have another couple of good discussions about it too.
Yeah.
But thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lattimore.
Manny, who's next?
I don't see any more raised hands.
Okay. Well, Francisco, you've been patient,
We have
and polite. Okay, there we've got a hand up.
Antonio Devine.
Okay.
Yes, good evening, actually.
Good evening.
I'm actually from the Flagami area, District 4, under Manolo Reyes. And I just want to bring to you attention to how important Flagami and the net office is for us, especially that we have a great number of elderly and disabled individuals that rely on the help from, like, particularly in that office, Ana Rodriguez, Virginia. They're always keeping in touch with the elderly. And every time that I have brought an issue, and it sounds like probably not nice to say this, but every time that I call 311 to bring something to them, month will pass and nothing will happen. But as soon as I contact the Flagami net office, everything is resolved. So I know that you planning to, or you trying to fix the budget and maybe close some of the net office. But I just want to say that the Flagami net is instrumental, and we need these people to continue doing the great job that they've been doing all along. So please consider that, and hopefully with the budget, we will have some of our streets fixed and repaired that we really needed. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention, the fantastic job that Flagami Net is doing for us, the senior citizens.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Vaughn, do you want to reiterate that Flagami is going to stay open?
Good evening again, sir. Flagami is one of the offices that will remain open. I also left one off the list, which was Corway. Corway is another office that will remain open as well. So thank you, and I'm happy that staff is able to assist you at all times.
Okay, now we have Caroline Lewis.
Ms. Lewis.
Hi, thank you all so very much for doing this. It means a lot to us and the public to have access to you all and to be able to ask these questions. I have two questions. My first one is a breakdown, if possible, of the percentage of time commitment that Mr. Dodd as CRO and Mr. Bennett as Deputy CRO will spend on resilience versus public works. I know they overlap mightily, and I know that the Miami Forever bond is already in the works and money is targeted for that. But beyond that, can you tell us what Mr. Dodd and Mr. Bennett plan to do with respect to divvying up their time between the office of, or the job and responsibility of resilience versus public works?
It's a good question. Alan?
Yeah, I think I can take this one. So we're still in the transition period because it's not complete until the budget is done. So I still have some responsibilities within resilience for signing certain documents and attending certain types of meetings. But in the 3.5 weeks now since I've officially taken over the role, I probably spend 5 to 6 hours a day working directly on resilience issues and participating in resilience meetings. I might do an hour at most working on things, Public Works, because I still have those responsibilities. They haven't been fully transferred to Juvenal Santana, who will be the Public Works Director, and about an hour on things that don't really fall into either bin. They're administrative type of meetings, and they cover both aspects, Public Works and resilience. Mr. Bennett, as the assistant, when we made this change, he's splitting his time a little bit more evenly. About 50% of his time is on resilience, 50% on Public Works issues. But within that, a lot of what he was already doing in Public Works was resilience related, dealing with the stormwater systems, seawall elevations, and things that go towards climate adaptation and mitigation.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dodd. You know, your reputation is wonderful and we expect a lot from you. I cannot imagine that you could spend less than half your time on resilience matters because they're overwhelming, but they have to be prioritized. So thank you for that. And hopefully, as soon as budgets can be increased, your department will increase mightily. My second question is more for you, Mr. Rose, wondering if in the City of Miami budget moving forward, if we are open to carbon reduction metrics as part of our budgeting for needing fewer funds to fuel our non-electric fleet right now, which might become electric, and things like that. Like, can we become part of the present where people see the need for carbon reductions and the metrics of carbon reductions as a definite positive trade-off for climate action?
Yes, ma'am. No, and I love how informed you are. You bring a lot to the table, and it is something that we've been discussing, not just recently, but over the last few years, actually. I have been looking into it. I love numbers, whether they're dollars or other numbers, and so we've been reviewing how to go about that, first of all, and the metrics are tightening up now. They're getting more standardized, and I appreciate that, because for a little while it seemed like it was a little subjective coming forward. But I think we're entering a phase, not gradually, not slowly, but in stages. We're at a stage where those numbers are getting a little more solid and a little more regular across different disciplines and ways that they're applied. Alan and I have talked about the plan to actually, and I should give credit where credit is due, Mayor Suarez as well, about the plan to get the city to a carbon neutral state. Alan, I don't know if we've named the time frame on that yet, but I know it's something we've been talking about, which is not exactly your question, Ms. Lewis. So let me let Alan answer for a minute, and then I'm going to come back to it.
Thank you.
Well, I think you, Chris, you did hit on one of the key pieces. Is it's a central part of what the mayor's priorities are, and right now we're just kicking off the process. We just completed the greenhouse gas assessment for the city based on 2018 data, which is the baseline to now come up and put together a plan. So I think you'll see over the next year, we'll put together that plan with specific targeted goals for both city operations and the city at large, because it involves the only way that we're going to achieve it is by involving the private residences and commercial businesses and things like that. But that is one of the major resilience objectives for the upcoming year.
Well, I'm really happy you have some baseline numbers now, because I think you're going to find it very easy to make money and save money doing the right thing. So Godspeed.
Thank you. And we are looking into how to reflect the carbon use and we're looking at how to reflect it as part of the budget, and we've not quite hit upon it yet. So it is something that we've explored.
Thank you. Please continue to do so.
Thank you. Manny, do we have other hands in the air? Virtually?
Not so far.
Okay. Francisco, I was about to hand the floor to you. Do you want to address everyone and say hi? You got that?
Mr. Lattimore is back.
Mr. Lattimore is back. Okay. So, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Chris, what for tomorrow night's meeting?
Yes.
How do I request some comparisons in terms of what issues went into making the decision about closing the net offices? We would like to know, and I'm pretty sure that tomorrow you'll get an uptick in conversation. We would like to know some of the criteria were met, because a number of the areas you mentioned were areas that seemed to be in pretty good shape. The Model Cities office handles elderly folk also, a lot of elderly people. So we would be very comfortable in learning about the decision that went into the decision to close the net offices. Even though there are going to be some mergers, will there be a reduction in the staffing? For instance, if you merge Model Cities with whoever, are there going to be reduction in staffing for those two areas?
All right. We'll how about if Vaughn and I get together tomorrow and see what we can lay out for tomorrow night.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Let me be clear that overall net will be reducing. Where those reductions occur, how about if we come back tomorrow night and talk to you a little bit about it?
That sounds great. Thank you.
And I'll also say that not all of those decisions have quite been made. Some of them are still in progress as to where. And I would also say we need to give directors, and this director in particular, some flexibility to move staff from one place to another as well. So we'll come back tomorrow night and we'll talk some more about it.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Certainly so, sir.
Okay. We have Irene Cilio.
Yes. Cecilio.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. I don't know if you can see me. I only see you guys, but
No, you're actually audio only right now, so
okay,
so we can hear you.
thank you. So, hello, and thank you for holding such an important meeting for everyone to see, where the financial health of things. And I apologize for having joined in a little bit later, but I did miss the end cusp of what the gentleman prior to me was discussing, and that was also one of my main concerns, the reduction of our net office, in particular, Yariel Diaz, because over the past 3 years, we have formed a very, very close community relationship with him. Our neighbors, with the police department, it's become quite a very important, I would say, presence within our community, because we've accomplished a lot together because of that relationship. So I would be, me and myself and my family and neighborhood would be very concerned if there were, changes that would affect that and affect, him not being in our community anymore as the net director.
Thank you for letting us know. Vaughn, can you tell us one more time which offices are going to remain open? I think it bears saying as many times as necessary. How many which ones are going to be staying open?
Sure. The offices that will remain open are Corway, Flagami, Upper East Side, Overtown, Attapata, La Havana, Coconut Grove. We'll also have net administration that will remain open as well.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Further questions out there? And thank you for thanking us for having the community budget meetings. By the way, this is not the first year that we've done it. I'm sure Mr. Lattimore's memory is better than mine, but I think we've been doing it for about 5 years now. And this is the first year we've done it virtually, and that is just probably best for all of us at this point, that we do it virtually. So thank you for thanking us.
Mr. Gajardo has a follow-up question.
Yes, please.
Chris, it seems to be slow, so I wanted to ask another question. In regards to the Curtis Park pool, are there any funds allocated to finish that project? It seems like that project has gone on for 3 years now. We've been without a public community pool in Allapattah, and doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Any updates on that as far as the budget is concerned?
Let me take a quick look here. I'm scrambling, and if a representative from our Office of Capital Improvements is here, I'll invite them up to help me answer. But while we are, I'm searching for Curtis in our budget right now. So we do have funding set aside for the Curtis Park Community Center design to start with.
Okay.
So that is in the budget.
Awesome.
And that means that once the design is complete, we would come back to the commission and see if the commission is ready to actually put capital funding towards the construction of that same community center. So
Awesome.
We've got that. Let me see what else we've got here. We are nearly complete with the environmental remediation that we've done at Curtis Park. And then the pool and boat ramp is probably the one that you were referring to. That is a really, really large project. So I know we've had, boy, it looks like we've got almost $6 million we've put into that project already. And my sincere apologies, I don't know the status of that one right now.
Okay, no problem. I mean, you've given us a great update with the rec center. Appreciate that.
Sure. Okay.
Chris, Hector is here.
Oh, good. Hector, do you want to address folks and tell us about Curtis Park?
Sure. The park is in the tail end of construction. We're doing some site work, and we're about to install the connect to the water and sewer main off the project. Once that's complete, then we can finish the pool of the interior, the tile work, and
Okay. I appreciate you, Mr. Badia. Do you have a time frame for that happening?
we're looking at the next few months to go ahead and finish the project. I don't have the schedule in front of me. It's something definitely I can get back to you on.
Okay.
But just to let you know, we're on the tail end of that.
And I know it's not your doing, and I'm sure it's no one at the city's doing, but this project has dragged on for over 3 years, I'd like to say, just so you know, throughout our entire community, we don't have one public pool. If we want to get into a public pool, we have to travel to other parts of the city. And that's gone on now for over more than 3 summers. This is either our third or fourth summer without a pool.
Mr. Haddad, we're doing our best to finish this for this summer season. So.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Season. Okay.
Thanks for the question, Pat. I appreciate it. Are there any directors that want to address those folks that are online and just give them some thoughts about what we're looking at for the new year?
Well, I'll take you up on that opportunity, Chris. Thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. Francisco Garcia with the Department of Planning. And I just wanted to share with you briefly that 2020 happens to be the 10th anniversary of the adoption of the new zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, also known as Miami 21. And so we now have 10 years of data and of experience working with this code, and are also very familiar with and mindful of some of the areas that are ripe for improvement. We were fortunate enough to have the leadership of Miami, Mayor, and the Commission unanimously supporting an effort to overhaul the zoning ordinance. And so beginning as soon as the month of September, we will be embarking again in an overhaul of the zoning ordinance. We will be hosting various public hearings. A board has been appointed to oversee those hearings, and we will be seeking the input of all of those who are interested in these matters, in planning and zoning matters, to inform the process going forward. It's expected to be a 6-month process of data gathering, input gathering, etc. And then the process that will follow is basically a rewrite or a revision of the zoning ordinance. So with that said, I just wanted to put that in everyone's sort of radar screen. We seek your input. We seek your feedback. There is already a web page within the city's website that allows you to provide that input and that feedback. So this is only to encourage you to let us know where we can do better, and we're happy to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. Appreciate that public service announcement. So. My son just came in and asked if I was still in the meeting, so the answer was yes.
We have Joyce Nelson.
Yes, Miss Nelson.
Again, thank you, and hi, Francisco. We go way back. I attended, 20 meetings about the NCD, and unfortunately, it went nowhere. We had consensus with the residents, and we were very, very diligent about making our voice heard. And I know you were there, Francisco. But it seems like it's dead in the water, and we are all extremely concerned, not just me. We're very concerned about where this is going. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. But we need to resolve this issue. The Grove, I'm in Coconut Grove, as you know, Francisco. The Grove is changing rapidly. And we don't feel it's in compliance with the NCD, as you well know. So what can I do next?
Thank you for the question, Joyce. Great to hear from you. What I will tell you, though, I'd like to strike a slightly more positive note. I don't think that all the time and effort that was put into the NCD evaluation was lost. We received an abundant amount of very valuable input, which has not been lost. And we are now more knowledgeable of exactly where the existing ordinance is perhaps too vague, perhaps not an accurate fit for some of the areas, perhaps needs additional clarity, and we know that it does. And as with everything in planning, actually, it's really about a consensus building process. Right now, you may know that there are a number of initiatives being worked on in Coconut Grove generally. And rest assured that every time these initiatives actually arise, we never lose an opportunity to bring up the fact that the NCD work remains pending, and we would do well to revive it and bring it to a conclusion. So that's how we see it from our end. Certainly not lost, certainly not forgotten, and we will revive it sooner rather than later. In terms of what you can do, Joyce, I'm certainly not in a position to give you that sort of advice, but certainly to the extent that you're still interested and you're still engaged, as I know you are, and some other community members are as well and have this interest, stay in touch, keep us posted of your activities. And my commitment to you, and I think this is safe to say, is that we will be back very soon talking about the NCD, most likely before the end of the year.
That's good news, but please help us. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
And Francisco, for those of them that are following along at home, can you tell us what NCD stands for? Just so we've put a check in that box.
Absolutely, Chris. Thanks for the prompt. NCD stands for Neighborhood Conservation District. There are 3 in the city of Miami. 2 of them are in Coconut Grove. And the third one happens to be Coral Gate, a neighborhood near Coral Way in the western part of the city. And an NCD, or a Neighborhood Conservation District, is simply a protective overlay, a set of regulations that have specific criteria for how development is to take place in the areas that are within the conservation district boundaries.
Very good. Thank you.
We have Jasmeli de la Cruz.
Yes, hi. I don't know if you guys touched on this because I got on the Zoom call a little bit late, but two things that I'm concerned with, being that I am a business owner in the Allapattah area. So I wanted to see if you guys can better break this down. It's we've all heard in the Allapattah area or in most areas that some of the net offices will no longer be active. So, and from what I hear, our Allapattah net office is one of those that may be affected. So we wanted to know, or I wanted to know, and many in the community, is the Allapattah net office going to be affected? Two, who makes the decision in the process of who stays or who goes? Because I say we because I know a lot of I talk with my friends, but we receive a lot of support from the net office in Allapattah, and I know that the neighborhood would be super devastated.
So, Von Carol Kinchins is our director of net. I'll let her speak, but she can tell you all the different offices that are staying open, and Allapattah is one of those that will be staying open.
Okay.
Von, you want to tell us all the ones that are going to stay open?
Good evening, Ms. Dela Cruz. The net offices that will remain open are Corway, Flagami, Upper East Side, Overtown, Allapattah, La Havana, Net Administration, and Coconut Grove.
Okay, and then more specifically, which I have to ask because he's been such an essential part, and I know a lot of my colleagues and a lot of my neighbors want to know in specific, I don't know if you know this, or if it's the appropriate time, but it's something that we've all talked about. Is Yariel staying in the net office in Allapattah?
Once again, there will be some effects when it comes to staff. As to say who will remain, that's the question I cannot answer at this time.
Right.
Okay. Will the community be aware ahead of time?
Once the changes are made and everything is definite, then the community will know.
Okay, perfect. And then I just want to go on because this is so important to us. Are you guys taking any input from the community when you're making those cuts or those changes?
So tonight's meeting is one example of that. We had another community meeting several months ago before the budget was proposed,
right?
And took input, admittedly through a different forum, but we had the community survey that we got a great deal of responses on. So yes, we do take that input, and I'll say again, the budget is not adopted yet. It is still proposed. So if you want, on September 10th and September 24th, we're going to have the official budget hearings of the city of Miami.
September
the budgets will be, yep. And I'm going to put a slide up before we end the night that has that and a few other pieces of information for you. So yeah, the 10th and the 24th is the official time and there will be public input. The city commissioners will be there, and we will vote twice on the budget, once each of those nights. Once the 24th is completed, and I have a strong suspicion that we may go all the way into the 25th that night, that once that night is completed, the budget will be adopted, and we will start the new year on October 1st at that point.
Okay, perfect. Just to put it out there, it's super important for the Allapattah community to have someone that knows us, that's been there, that's done a great job communicating, that knows the area very well. is changing, but there's a lot of work that has to be done. So I just wanted to advocate for that as a business owner in the community. I think it's super important that we have someone that knows the community and that has dealt with the community to be in that position.
All right. Thank you for that input. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I will tell you, whenever we have physically gone out to the Allapattah area with these budget meetings, they are always well attended. So I do appreciate that. And while I'm at it, a shout out to my Hadley Park folks that also extremely well attend the budget meetings. But thank you all for participating virtually this year. I do appreciate it. Do we have further questions?
We have Eileen Celio again.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have one last question about the topic you discussed a little bit earlier regarding the NCD, the Neighborhood Conservation District. How does a neighborhood get that designation? Is that something that is petitioned, or how does the process work? If that's something that you can discuss in this meeting.
I'm happy to with Mr. Rose's permission.
Please.
Very briefly, this is a topic that I'd certainly welcome the opportunity to discuss with you and your neighbors at your leisure. But briefly put, the Neighborhood Conservation District first has to be designed. It's sort of tailor designed for the community. It wants to preserve what the community wants to preserve. And then after there is consensus for these preservation strategies, it becomes codified. But prior to implementation, what we want to make sure happens is that there is a broad acceptance on the part of the community to receive these additional regulations and these additional protections. And for that purpose, our code requires that there be a majority vote of those affected to go ahead and enact those protections. So step one would be to get community consensus. We, the planning department, would engage with the community to try to address those issues that need protection. And once we have a proposal that is submitted to a community vote, if it receives a majority vote, then we go ahead and codify it, and it becomes part of the regulations of the city of Miami, and it is enforced as part of any permits for development or any other code enforcement activities that take place in the area. But again, please reach out to us in the planning department, and we'll be happy to discuss it with you further, or even have a workshop in your community if you're interested.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Iglesias.
Thank you.
Get myself off of mute there. So no, that is something Francisco and I have talked a long time about the Miami 21 and the things that are coming. I will echo what he says in this regard, and what you said as well. There's really not a section of the city that's not changing right now. Double negative intended. We are all in a state of change, in a state of flux. I will say, Allapattah is one of those that is really hopping right now, and I've seen it. And you know, Pat, I can feel you smiling through the computer here. It has been changes just in those years that I've been coming out to Duarte Park. So thank you for you all coming tonight and asking the questions and participating. Further questions out there?
Yeah. If there's no further questions, I wouldn't mind giving the community a couple quick stats on COVID-19.
Yes, please. This is Chief Eloy Garcia of our Fire Rescue Department. I'm sure he was going to introduce himself, but a colleague of mine. Chief, do you want to go on camera and on microphone, or just microphone?
Sure. Okay. Can you see me now?
I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Huh.
There we go. You're on.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for this opportunity, and to all the citizens out there and our colleagues here at the City of Miami. Once again, great meeting, Chris. You always do a lot for the community. Just wanted to touch base that fire rescue this year has responded somewhere around 75,000 alarms. We're projected to go easily over 105,000 this year, more than ever before, and even more than a couple years back when we had Hurricane Irma. Of those 75,000, 8,365 alarms have been emergent infectious disease alarms or COVID-19 alarms. And also our mobile testing units, which is, as you very well know, Chris, and a lot of our directors here in the city, we were the pioneers in Dade County with the mobile testing units, and we've conducted 20,767 tests to date. Operationally, at Marlins Park, we've conducted almost 65,000 tests, and presently in the department, in the fire department itself right now, we have 19 people in isolation, 12 that are positives, and 150 year to date that have been COVID-19 positive. But I just want to give the community a little bit of a sense of COVID-19 and some statistics that are more related to the city, aside than the ones that you hear in the news that are county-wide. And thank you for this opportunity, Chris.
Thank you for taking it, Chief. I appreciate it. That's good information for us all to hear. Thank you for everything you do for the community, you and your brothers and sisters in fire rescue. Appreciate it. Mr. Vickers, I see you on the screen. Would you like to?
Hey, Chris, how are you today?
Good, sir.
For our friends over in Alapata, and following up on Assistant Chief's COVID report, the Department of Human Services has basically been responsible for our pediatric testing program. We've partnered with the University of Miami, and we've been at 3 locations in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Curtis Park actually had the highest number of children tested, well over 600. Varick Park in Coconut Grove was over 500. And we finished today in the Liberty City area, and those numbers have not come in for the 3-day period. But today, which was the final day, I believe 61 children were tested. So we're very happy with that. Certainly those services were in conjunction with the Children's Trust, City of Miami Fire Department, City of Miami Parks Department, and coordinated by the Department of Human Services. And I cannot forget University of Miami Health, who actually provided the boots on the ground service that we've experienced. So that's been a great project for us, and we hope to grow that relationship with University of Miami at no cost, by the way, to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. And from a budget director standpoint, thank you for no cost to the city. It's always good for me. So thank you. And that was Milton Vickers. He's the director of the Department of Human Services in the city of Miami. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Chief Gauze, would you like to speak to us this evening?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I am Assistant Chief Sharice Gauze here on behalf of Chief George Colina. And we just want to say thank you to the community first and foremost, and thank you to our officers who've been doing an outstanding job with everything that we have faced in recent months. And we just want to reassure the community that you will get the same high quality service that we've always been able to provide, regardless of what the budget says or demands. Our focus is to continue to build relationships with the community, build trust and legitimacy, because we know if we keep that at the forefront, then that equates to community safety. So if there are any questions for police, I'm more than happy to answer at this time. Okay, with that, thank you all and have a great evening.
Wait, Eileen Cilio has a question.
Okay.
Hi, thank you, Assistant Chief Goss, for joining us, and thank you for your service and everything you are doing to keep all of us safe. We are very, very appreciative. I wanted to point out, we used to have several events throughout the community where we would gather. It was called Coffee with a Cop, and yes, we would hold them, you know, in several locations throughout the city. Would that be something that's going to return? Because I felt that, you know, brought the community together, and it had everyone like interact, you know, with the police and be more comfortable. Also, we would do events also at the library with the police officers where they would interact with the kids in the community. And I think that was very important also.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that question. And yes, certainly we have a very robust community engagement program in our department, even before recent events. It is something that is a cornerstone of what our philosophy is and our vision. We know that without the community, we can't fight crime and we can't have great relationships with the community. So definitely it is at the forefront. Unfortunately, COVID has put a stop or a pause, I would say, on our community engagement activities. However, we have done some things, especially with the PAL program, virtually. So that has been one of the things that we've done, but certainly we will be bringing those programs back as soon as it is safe for us to do so. And just so you know, we miss the community immensely. We miss, I heard several people that I'm familiar with on the call, haven't been able to see them in quite some time, but I'm just very excited to even hear them. We can't wait until things get back to normal.
Thank you.
I see Mr. Lattimore has his hand raised, so please, Sam, the floor is yours.
I just want to thank Chief Goss for you and Chief Morales for all the support you've given the Model Cities neighborhood. It has been nice to be able to come into you and when you were at Major, and now that you're Chief, to share with our concerns. One of the things I want to just ask you, if you all had included in the budget some assistance for all of the city of Miami with our malicious mischief graffiti tagging that's going on. It's making all over the community now. There have been increased tagging, so to speak. And the correct thing is not graffiti, malicious mischief. And I was wondering if you all had sat down and looked at that as a possibility of addressing this issue, which is community-wide, and to hear what you all have planned to do with that in terms of a strategy.
Yes, so thank you for that question, Professor. It is great to see you on the call as well. So certainly all quality of life issues are concerned to us. I won't say specifically that we have monies earmarked for that specific concern. However, as quality of life, as we talk about, whether it be graffiti, overgrown lots, whatever the situations are, we work with our counterparts in order to address those issues. I am in communication with you and have seen your email, so definitely it is something that we do have on our radar and will address. As you know, we've been very tied up with our protests and just hurricane mobilizations and so forth, and our COVID responses. So definitely we do have you on the radar and we'll give you the attention that you need as soon as we can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the chief is right. all departments partner up together. So our net department actually has a graffiti abatement program that we breathed new life into about 2 years ago, and it is progressing. So we have that continuing in the budget. My recollection is that it's a lower amount, but that it won't change the service that's out there, because we might have actually put a little too much in the budget last time, so we're spreading those funds to other places. So the graffiti abatement program in net continues, and I see Von Carroll back with us to talk about another good thing she's doing. So please, Director, what do you have to say about graffiti?
One thing that's different now when it comes to net attending to graffiti is that we can now go on private property with this graffiti abatement program. Before, we could not. There are certain criteria that residents and businesses have to meet, but so far the program is doing very well. So once again, you have those issues or concerns when it comes to graffiti, please call your local net office.
Good. Thank you, Director Kitchens.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chief Gauze. I see you took the camera off there, but thank you to you and your colleagues in the police department for everything that you do. And I know the budget office has made them work pretty hard over the last few months as well. All departments, I think, but police was one of those we kept reaching out to and talking with quite a bit. I see we have Alfredo Duran from our Housing and Community Development Department. Alfredo, do you want to have the next to the last word? Because we're going to wrap up pretty soon here. You might be on mute, Alfredo. I think you're still on mute. There we go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, before we log off, I just wanted to, representing our housing efforts, the city, you know, we are all living through some very difficult times with this COVID, and our businesses, our small businesses, our residents, our renters, our homeowners are facing tremendous hardships with not being able to work. And so the city has received some federal dollars, and we've put them to the best use that we can. When the CARES Act initially came out, we received some money and we put it into small business assistances, providing $20,000 to small businesses and also to micro businesses. To the tune of $10,000. Those programs are closed, and we're working with those businesses to help them. We also put forth a rental assistance and utilities assistance program to help our renters who have fallen behind on their rents, and we're working on that, providing up to $1,500 per renter. We're also now in the midst, which is open right now, a mortgage assistance program for our homeowners. It's one of the few mortgage assistance programs available by any municipality, and that will provide up to $6,000 to mortgage to homeowners who are falling behind in their mortgage. And we also have an eviction prevention program that's open right now that can offer up to $3,500 for those folks that have received a 3-day notice. And we're looking forward to, there's a moratorium for evictions. We're looking forward to working on a program to help, prevent people to losing their apartments. So we're working hard with the resources that we're getting. And I just wanted to let everybody know the city feels your pain, and we're doing as much as we can with what we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo. Appreciate it. All right. So it looks like we have come to the end of our virtual budget meeting, and I do want to thank everyone for attending. If I recall correctly, we kind of went to the questions with this slide up, all the many different services that the city provides. So let me tell you, anyone that wants to get their screen capture ready, this next slide has sort of the information that you might be looking for. We've got 2 budget meetings coming up. I know I've mentioned them, but I'm going to mention them again. September 10th and September 24th at 5:05 p.m. They are both virtual meetings, so you will be able to log into a Zoom call much like this one, and all of the common public comment time that we have for city commission meetings will apply to this as well. So I encourage you to participate in that way. I will also point out that we have another one of these exact same virtual community budget meetings tomorrow night, same time, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And anything you might want to follow up on, we have at our website. MiamiGov.com is the city's website, but MiamiGov.com/budget is our particular website that has all of the budget information, including past adopted budgets, the proposed budget that we have before us tonight, and you might even want to look at some of the monthly reports that we put out that are projecting how the city is doing. Then the final line there on the page is ibudget@miamigov.com. That is our email address in the budget office if you have questions that you think of later, or some specific things that you might want to ask, and we can point you to a particular page in the budget book or some information that we've got, so you can email us that way as well. So with that, I'm going to thank everyone, especially Manny Otero in the Department of Innovation and Technology, for helping us get this thing out over our Zoom call, and thank you for our directors and assistant directors for participating. But in particular, thank you for all the community leaders that have shown up tonight and asked questions. So thank you all for coming, and we will see some of you tomorrow night. Have a good evening. Thank you.